call this sort of Oprah or Bropra after the show. We're not on the radio live, but we're still streaming on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And joining us in studio, a documentarian by the name of Daniel McCabe, who has a new film out called This is Congo. And as you can see, also still with us, our co-host for the day. We're blessed to have him here in New York, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. But Daniel, welcome to you, man. How are you? Welcome to Sirius XM. How are you, buddy?
Great. Thanks for having me.
So tell us all about This is Congo.
What a great subject, the Congo.
Indeed, indeed.
We don't really appreciate just what the Congo means to the Western world.
That's true.
Tell us a little bit about the documentary.
Yeah, well, the film follows 4 characters' lives amongst conflict in the Congo, and at different waypoints in their stories, we find these points where we can jump into the country's history and contextualize how Congo got from where it was to where it is today.
For those who don't know, what does that mean? Where is it today?
Well, it's a very trepidatious place. You know, you've got widespread corruption, exploitation of minerals across the board, and different conflicts. 4 major ones kind of boiling over right now in the country. And 4 different major ones. I mean, you've got dozens and dozens of armed groups roving around the east, but 4 specific big conflicts.
That because it's so wealthy, there's such a violent competition for the wealth?
Sure. That's a huge component, absolutely. But we also have to look at the things that history has kind of imposed on the country, whether it's the Arab slave traders or colonial rule or foreign interest that's kind of waved over in the last 20 years, especially.
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, for sure.
And speaking specifically of that, I mean, right now, one of the biggest debates, and I've compared it to, we've all seen Black Panther. I've compared it to vibranium. You know, the vibranium of today is coltan, isn't it?
Sure, in a sense, but I mean that's just one of the resources. You know, you've got copper, cobalt, you've got hardwoods, you've got human resources, wildlife resources. So coltan's a hot word, and I think it all affects us because we've got it in our pockets right now. But that's just one tiny component.
Say that again. People need to hear what you just said. Spell it. Go slow and in our pockets. What does that mean?
In our pockets.
Well, coltan. I think we've all heard the idea of blood cell phones, and what that really means is that in our cell phones we've got these high strength capacitors that are made with tantalum. Tantalum's mostly found. The largest amount of the world reserves are within the Congo.
Indeed.
Yeah, and so
because the reason I ask you, I want people to appreciate Congo is not just something in the movies. It's like real stuff, and so I want them to hear what you're saying. In real time. Yeah,
it's real, and more. You know, also aside from cell phones, you know, things like cassiterite, which is used for tin cans, aluminum foil. You know, all these things are all in the Congo. So we're touching Congo in our daily lives all the time. So it's important for us to keep that in mind.
But is Congo being touched economically by what we take from them and use ourselves? That's the question. Is there any reciprocity to the Congo?
Absolutely not. I mean, you have the wholesale impoverishment of the people, and often, as you'll see in my movie, one of our characters is an artisanal mining dealer. So she deals with things on a smaller scale. So those are really the people that are affected, where they're out there mining a lot of these resources with their hands and selling it for bottom dollar. So it's tough. They really don't see any of that.
Rich soil, poor people.
There we are.
How can people get a copy of your documentary?
Well, we've got a theatrical premiere happening this Friday in New York and L.A. New York, it's at the Maisels Documentary Center in Harlem, which is a Congolese area of New York, which I'm very excited about, and at the Lemley in L.A. And then we'll be in select theaters nationwide afterwards.
So now, these are still also the after effects of colonialism and neocolonialism, and even do I dare say the assassination of Patrice Lumumba? All that that Congo is not recovered from those events, has it?
Absolutely not. I mean, and that's specifically what the film jumps into. We look at we experience today in a very intimate way through our characters. But we contextualize things by going to these key moments in history, whether it's Arab slave traders, King Leopold in the Free State, the colonial period, the assassination of Lumumba, Mobutu's reign. All these things are these components that are the building blocks of this confusing, complicated mess that we have today.
No question about it. Folks, this is Congo, a theatrical release in New York and L.A. On this Friday, correct? Is that right?
That's correct.
All
Friday.
right, and then it'll be available elsewhere. For benefit of our audience, though, what I'd like to do is I'd like to share the trailer. Those of you watching the stream, Andrew, can you bring my computer up? This is the trailer for the film. This is Congo. Take a listen, everyone, if you would.
For security reasons, I will call myself Colonel Kasongo. What I can tell you is that I am a high-ranking officer in the Congolese army. Our hope was always to bring stabilization to Congo. But the fighting continues.
More obstacles to peace in Democratic Republic of Congo.
Kila mtu anajua kama ni mtu aleta. Akisha kuona tunanyenere ni frank.
Where there's corruption, development can't exist.
They have definitely had outside help.
The main power is the power of the gun.
Na wale ambaye wangeweza kutusaidia ndio walifanya mambo kama haya.
If anybody provokes us, we will be back.
Hata vita naanza, niye siwezi acha ku.
People have lost trust in their government.
We are Congolese. We must support this country. It is our country.
Mais si nous faisons tout ça pour notre État, c'est l'amour du pays. C'est l'amour de notre peuple. Et c'est la défense de notre intégrité territoriale.
And that is, this is Congo. This is Congo.com to see that for yourselves and even share it. Daniel, how did you get interested in this subject itself? How did you get involved?
Well, my first trip to the Congo was as a freelance photojournalist in 2008 to cover a conflict commonly known as the CNDP War. And my experience there on the ground was what kind of laid the foundation and the thirst for me to go back and tell a deeper story with a bit more understanding of what was going on.
What can people do to deal with this? I mean, should we stop using our phones or pressure companies in this country to stop exploiting these minerals?
You know, I don't think it's as simple as us stopping using our phones. And when we're talking about coltan, as we were before, it's in more than our phones. It's in all of our systems of communication. It's in pacemakers, satellites. So we can't simply stop doing these things. I think the most important thing we can do as Westerners or as anyone is to educate ourselves and to understand why this is happening. Because the major problem in Congo is it's such a confusing mess that news reports often package it in a very simplified thing that doesn't fully explain what's happening. And when we're confused, we often turn the channel or look away. So we really need to educate ourselves.
But specifically, though, is there a way by which this technology can still be used and companies can be pressured to end their exploitation? Is there a direct way to do that?
Sure, there is, but you know, often I find that it's far more complex than that. It's not as easy as us simply making sure Nokia buys conflict-free resources, because in a place like Congo, the idea of a conflict-free mine and a blood resource mine are almost one and the same. You know, you have a national army that's one of the most violent military forces in the country, more so than many of the rebels. So the idea, the Western idea of conflict and conflict-free almost doesn't apply in Congo. So it's trickier than that.
I see.
Yeah.
This is Congo.com. Go to the website, find out more. Premiering in New York and L.A. Friday. So go to the website, find out where you can see it. The theater in Harlem, the Mar.
Yeah, we're at the Maisels Documentary Center, and we're also partnering with some great activism organizations. So there's lots to learn if you come out to the screenings.
And get more information about Cecil Rhodes, about Leopold. I mean, the Congo is really worth studying.
Yeah. Theater in L.A. for our L.A. listeners.
The Limley.
The Limley. And then nationwide, when?
Nationwide, right after that in select cities. You know, we're hoping to get a lot of power behind it so we can be in as many cinemas as we can to get in front of as many eyeballs as we can.
Dan McCabe, thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Keep up the good work, folks. Folks, go to thisiscongo.com. Check it out now.